All right, here we go. Back with Dylan. Hit the newest low you were just saying. 241 yesterday.
Yeah,
Let's
uh,
freaking go, man.
full pescatarian for like a week and a half now. Only I'll mix in some chicken once or twice a week, depending on the easy access, because chicken's sometimes easier to get than fish is, and it gives a little bit of the change in the palate because tilapia and shrimp are kind of the two mainstays with the fish. Um, I was gonna, so if I'm in a pretty low fat diet, do you think that mixing salmon in is a good, like a fatty fish in every now and then would be good?
Yeah, if it's wild caught, I don't think it's a big deal. I think
Hmm.
I just had a Booge. He just texted me yesterday. He's had really low fat for a while, and then he had salmon nigiri or like salmon and just fish, and he said he actually felt good, like kind of cleared up brain fog. So for some people, if you're really low fat, and maybe if your liver isn't really converting as much fat. Not everyone's liver is working super properly for the DNL, de novo lipogenesis, when it creates fat. So once in a while, yeah, I don't think salmon's a
Hmm.
big deal. You want to be cautious. I'd maybe incorporate a vitamin E when I have it, depending the quality of the salmon, just because it has higher polyunsaturated fat. But overall, yeah, not a big deal. And then you can use
Okay.
coconut oil too. Like I'm doing a very low fat or low fat diet, and I suppose of it's mostly rice, potato, oats, mostly starches, and then a ground turkey, a chicken breast, a shrimp. But then any of my added fat, it's right now, because I'm working with a coach personally, ranging from 10 to 14 grams of coconut oil per serving. So then I just have that, and that's medium chain
Yeah.
triglycerides. So they do burn faster. Coconut oil definitely burns faster than other saturated fats. So if you're gonna have a fat other than salmon, adding some coconut oil on there, I think
Hmm.
is very helpful and low risk of adding any body fat.
Yeah, we started for our fat here. My wife bought some organic heavy cream. We just made butter.
Hmm.
It was super cool. She made it
That's sweet.
yesterday and put
Churning
it
it.
in our like KitchenAid and just mixed it for 15 minutes and like smashed it to get all the water out of it. Now I've got enough butter for weeks, just
There
like
you go.
that.
You're strapped. Yeah, it's the cool
Uh-huh.
thing about food. You can make a lot of stuff. Like you can make sourdough,
Hmm.
tortillas. You can kind of make a lot of the things that you would want yourself, which is nice.
Yeah, she rather, I don't do much of the baking, but she made biscuits and it's so fire. And
Yeah.
you know that it's only like four ingredients. So you're not looking at the back and it's not enriched. Everything's enriched and they're adding all that stuff. It's four things and all the ingredients we have are the organic thing. So even though I know that it's a lot of it's just mouth or just like hyping it up a little bit more than it should be. I know it's still probably a little bit better than just the average stuff. Probably. I hope so.
Yeah. I tend to think either if somebody's shopping, if you do really local and you know your farmer and you just ask them, do you use atrazine? Do you use pesticides like glyphosate? Because sometimes they're not labeled organic if they're local, but the local places can't afford to pay for their organic or non-GMO labels and all that stuff. Because if you do, like in all of those companies that label it organic or non-GMO, typically take money from the farmer, and farmers have low budgets or really low profit margins. So
Mhm.
not all of them who are local, who maybe are organic, can afford to label it. So if you shop local at farmers market and stuff, you can just ask them. And then if not, I do
Mhm.
think organic is worth it if you have like the money to spend on it. Especially there's just so much stuff on the food. So, even if it's better than it might not be perfect, but if it's better than the food that's literally laced with things that cause cancer, like glyphosate and atrazine, which are estrogenic and cancer causing, then I think it's worth it.
Mhm.
Um, that's the short answer, I suppose.
Yeah. The other thing that I've really been trying to stay away from is the natural flavors. Trying
Hmm.
to get away from all that because you'll
Can
look
be
at
like
an
400
ingredients
flavors.
list. Yeah, and you'll look at an ingredients list, you're like, oh, it's got four ingredients, but then you see natural flavors. And I've been looking into it. It's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, you've
Make you
seen how
really
it can
think about
be.
what's going on. Yeah, what you're eating.
Yeah, it could be human. People don't
Hmm.
realize that in natural flavors and in a lot of, I think fast food and such. I don't think, I don't think there, I mean, this is a rabbit hole, but I don't think people realize
Yeah.
there's whole like there are people who maybe would be deemed to be controllers or people in control, like to plant certain things that people don't know they're consuming. So when you're looking at food quality, it's not just about losing fat or being healthy, but if you're spiritually trying to be aligned with doing good, then not supporting the companies that you could argue don't do good would be a great
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, for sure. Something happened a couple days ago on my Instagram. That was all my algorithm was big food and the stuff that's in your food. And it's crazy.
Yeah,
Really is.
yeah, people don't, I mean, the thing about big food, and there's so much behind it, the medicine really changed in the 20s, the 1910s, 1920s, the Rockefellers, Carnegies and such kind of bought out all of the pharmacies and funded all of the schools. And they're the ones who really introduced, the modern day slavery of 9 to 5 work. But they also really introduced the medical system and kind of changed it and changed the whole medical book, which was more Eastern herbal medicine prior to what we would deem Western medicine. But when cigarettes became demonized in the 50s, or really the 60s and 70s, and later on, all of those scientists, right? These scientists work for many of these large cigarette companies, and they were figuring out how to make them addicting. And that's why there's all these different chemicals and things in there. Um, and then you go, and all these get made illegal, right? They make less money. They can't advertise them anymore. So then all of these scientists just get
Hmm.
moved over to food. And now they start working on food science. And food science is addiction science. It's the same thing. And so many people I talk to, right? You're losing 10, 20 pounds. I talk to clients all the time. And they're like, yeah, I'm just still craving Oreos. I'm still craving Doritos, pizza, because it's designed to literally make you addicted to it. It's by definition. And the food, and then what they use to make it addicting, like these polyunsaturated fats, like these artificial sweeteners or natural flavors, are are very much toxic. So people might think in our society we're living long, but the quality of life, many people,
Yeah.
it's crazy, get overweight by the time they're 30, 35. They probably haven't ran. They don't run, they don't do anything, they can't move around. And just like you were talking about at work today, everyone's just eating a sub, a sandwich, and not realizing, it's just perpetuating their health issues.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of switching. You've been talking about in the L2L a lot about sleep and bumping
Yeah.
up that bedtime. And I was going to talk to you about this. So I remember before I moved up here, before I had bunch of big life changes, I couldn't sleep, like really couldn't sleep. And I was falling asleep at like 4 and I was trying to get in bed at like 11. And you were saying a quick fix would be to just stay up. And there was a night that I looked at my alarm and it was like 4:30. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get up. And so I just got up and then I fell asleep at 6:30. Anyways, it didn't work because I fell asleep like 2 hours later. But I've been having that thing now where I'm waking up earlier to go to the gym at 5, and I need to go to bed earlier to get at least 7 hours. So 10 o'clock is my goal. And probably 3 weeks ago it was like 11:30 is when I could go to sleep. But I've gotten it last night. Went to bed at 10 and just bumping it up 15, 20 minutes. Even the thing that I've been thinking about is even if you go to bed at 10 or like you shut all your stuff off and close your eyes at 10 and you say you don't fall asleep until 10:30, I think you're still training yourself to get adjusted to that 10 o'clock routine. But that's helped me a ton because I know we've been talking about that.
Yeah, and referring to the group chat where I have like all
Yeah.
the clients in there, and yeah, it's moving it up is really helpful because your body's trained. Really, it takes like 10 to 14 days to just get used to one time. So, and then eventually you kind of get used to waking. Like for you, it seems like you're used to waking up at the time you're used to. So you need to get used to waking up at the bed, and you got used to waking up at that time because you were waking up at that time every day for a long
Mm-hmm.
period of time, and then eventually that becomes normal. Now, the thing about sleep is you're not going from nothing to waking up, or you're not going from nothing to sleeping. You're going from doing things throughout the day to then sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So that setup period before sleep is really important, and understanding how much. Like I have guys who tell me like, oh yeah, I can't get really to bed as early as I want, but I get home from work at 6:30. I'm trying to go to bed at 10:30. I'm like, what the heck are you doing for 4 hours before you go to bed? What is that like? What does that entail? And it's like, oh, I got to cook and I got to study the playbook. It's like, That takes you 4 hours to do? What are we talking about? So for some people who want to make an extravagant dinner every night and then do dishes and then take a walk after dinner, it might take a while. So maybe meal
Hmm.
prepping your dinner would be helpful. But for you, it sounds like you guys got that on lock. So a big takeaway for people who are trying to go to bed earlier is, like you mentioned, uh, incrementally bump it up. Small improvements. Even if you went to bed 2 minutes earlier
Hmm.
every single night, in a month, you went to bed an hour earlier. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but you've got to remember you have to start your whole nighttime routine early. So you've got to start, turn your phone off for airplane mode or blue light glasses or nighttime snack or journal or meditate or pray or read. All that stuff you want to, I like setting my clothes out in the morning. You probably do the same for your working out. Like I
Hmm.
set out my food or have my food ready for the next day. I kind of have everything ready to go. And that stuff always takes longer than you think. So setting up that nighttime routine and trying to be really efficient. And sometimes I like having checklists. I've got post-it notes all over where I just kind of have things because you can kind of forget what to do. And then if your morning routine takes a while, that's a pain in the ass too. So kind of
Yeah.
riffing on that. But yeah, it's I think the more ingrained you can get it, the better.
So what time are you in the 5 a.m.s now? Wake up time?
No,
Where are you at?
I'm probably at between 5:30 and 6:30, depending on
So
how I go to when I go to bed.
are you waking up naturally at that time? Or do you have to have an alarm?
No, I have an alarm for sure.
Okay. Because I see stuff that's and it's true because whenever I don't set an alarm and I wake up at 8, I feel great. But for 5 a.m. it seems or it feels impossible to one, trust myself to wake up in time, and two, to even think I could without an alarm. And I don't really know how to test it, but
Uh, I mean, you could just try test it on the weekend.
mhm,
Go to bed at the same time and see what time you wake up. That would be a test. Because if you wake up at the same time on the weekend as a weekday, then
yeah.
you're dialed in. For me, I'm still adjusting my sleep schedule, so it's not on point yet, and it's an adjustment because I'm in Mountain Time, but in less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be back on Eastern Time, and
Hmm.
my meetings are they sway a little bit for I typically like right now I can meet with people later because I don't train till later. So later for them at 5 p.m. Eastern's 3 here. But if I'm meeting with somebody at 5 p.m. Eastern, I have to train after. That's kind of a pain in the butt because I don't like to
Yeah.
train after 12 hours of waking. That's kind of like the latest I'd want to train. So if I wake up at 6, if I start training anything after 6, it's kind of like I don't feel like I have peak energy.
Yeah.
Like if I wake up at 6 a.m. but I train at 8 p.m., it's a long stretch before I
Hmm.
work out. But yeah, I'm still working on my sleep too. My sleep's not perfect, and getting used to adjustments. And I'm eating 6 meals a day, like
Yeah.
square meals, which is with meetings and such is like it's 5:19, and I'm technically only 3 meals in right now. So like it's just sometimes with meetings and stuff, it's a little it's a little bit harder. So
Yeah.
I'm still working on myself too. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The adjustment. So we were talking about adjustments with the lactose last week and reintroducing dairy with my
Yeah.
wife. We started doing that and no issues,
Boom. Let's go.
none.
What's it been?
So
What's been the protocol
it's
here?
been we've done the 2 ounces per meal. I mean, honestly, sometimes probably more than that because put the 1% milk in the coffee,
Yeah.
and that's more. That feels like it's more than two. But the one thing that we do or she does is she takes doxycycline for her skin, and that reacts with dairy. That's what it has
And the
reaction
sun.
with. Yeah, and the sun. So we've been spacing the dairy out with that. I think 2 hours, and that the sun too. Yeah, that's. But that other we've once when we stick to that, there's no issues, and that's been cool.
Yeah, man, the antibiotics are, I mean, I started minocycline probably when I was 14, and I've taken that for majority of my life since then. And then doxycycline on and off the past year or so, and some
Hmm.
other antibiotics for skin and thyroid related things and digestion. So that makes sense. For her, has she tried having like beef liver, oysters, anything like that?
We haven't started that yet. No, we are going to start doing that. I need to set up a plan for that, like a grocery list, because when we went shopping last week, it totally slipped my mind. So I'll when we go shopping this week, I'm probably gonna get some. I don't really know like where do I get good liver from.
Yeah, beef liver, you'd want to go to a local butcher. So
Okay.
look up a local butcher. They'll have beef liver or a health food store. Like some really niche health food stores will have it typically in the frozen area from a local farm, like mine back home in Rochester has that. So, but the beef liver, about 3 ounces a week, it has a major dose of B vitamins and then a lot of retinol, vitamin A, the active component, or the
Okay.
active version of vitamin A. So that can help a lot for skin. I have some people who've been on Accutane who come off and use beef liver and find it tremendously beneficial. And then oysters as well will
Hmm.
just provide a lot of copper along with the liver. So you can have those on separate days. You can even do canned oysters
Yeah.
in olive oil, and you'll be good to go. Aside from that, with the doxycycline, you can always incorporate, I think the carrot salad, typically for skin issues, many times it's thyroid or estrogen related.
Hmm.
So the raw carrot salad can help with estrogen in the liver because that excess estrogen in the liver eventually manifests as skin
100%. Yeah.
issues. So
We
that could be
started doing
something
that. And
great.
I mean, it's unbelievable how much the inflammation has gone down. Like crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
The journey is to get off of everything.
Mhm.
But for now, making it or starting at a baseline and seeing progress is really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, we're in a modern world with modern pollutants, and sometimes you have to use modern solutions
Hmm.
like a antibiotic. So I don't, if somebody needs to use a medicine, they you need to use a medicine, and I occasionally need to use it myself. So no judgment on that. Obviously, it's nice to not be able to use it as well. Something else you can try out with the digestion component with the skin would be a activated charcoal. That's definitely a great way. You want to have that away from food, 1 tablespoon. See how long it takes for transit, meaning how long your bowel movement turns black. The longer it
Hmm.
takes, the slower your metabolism typically is. But that can help really clear out maybe any kind of SIBO, small intestinal overgrowth. And I just
Yeah.
had Kate on the podcast Monday, and she was kind of talking
Oh,
about how
yeah.
activated
Is
charcoal.
that how long is that going to take to come out?
They'll probably come out on Monday.
Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it'll be a good. It was
It's
like
going to be
almost
cool.
2 hours long. It was good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Excited
Um,
about that.
all right, I got some pretty good ones this week. I haven't even tapped into them yet.
Let's go.
I guess starting. Oh, okay. How serious are parasites in a human body, and how much should you worry about them?
Where does this question stem from?
I just in like the health space that just feels like I'm doing a parasite cleanse. I've seen it on like multiple people, well, like stories and stuff, and other health influencers talk about it quite a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's completely real for sure. The parasites are real. I did a parasite detox right before I started vegetarian. That's why I actually went to vegetarian because I think there's a possible argument that humans actually aren't meant to be eating meat, and that when we could go back to whenever the humans have been manipulated with, or maybe when our civilization was kind of restarted, seemed to be stemming from Atlantis. Um, that there was an introduction in there's basically the Atlanteans, and then there's other people around. We would maybe call these Canaanites or such people, and this is where cannibalism comes from, of eating flesh. Um, but there's a decent argument that we're not. Now the argument would be, hey, well, obviously we have got the teeth to eat flesh, and we also have stomach acidity to consume flesh. But in flesh, that's a lot of times where we're going to get parasites. And I think there's a strong argument that Jesus was at most a pescatarian. I think probably strongly a vegetarian from the tribe of the Essenes. That would be the same argument with the Buddha, Krishna, and these all stem from the Orinda book, which is never really talked about. You can also look in the Dead Sea Scrolls. But typically, it was very common to be using animals for their milk, like making milk and butter and eggs and such like that, but not you actually eating them because that's why you don't eat pigs. That's why a lot of cultures don't eat pigs, is because, there's also many myths that maybe humans were turned into pigs, and that's what kind of goes into more of the flesh eating proponent of cannibalism and what's pushed on us today. But either way, I think parasites are very real. I think using anti-parasite medicine, I have it with me, so if I ever kind of feel messed up, I like having something that sort for anti-parasite, and then probably an antibiotic as well.
Yeah. What kind of medicine is that? Like, is it easy to get it or do you
Ivermectin.
have to get it? Oh,
Ivermectin.
okay. Okay.
It's easy
Yeah.
to get it. You can get it from a pharmacy below the border that I can send you a link to. Yep. Yeah, it's very, very easy, very cheap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Um, Another one.
Hmm.
If you could pick one, would you say that a hot shower or a cold shower is better for you? I was
Hot,
just thinking about this.
hot,
Hot, you think?
fuck cold showers. Yeah, man, those are terrible. They're stressful for the body. They make like I'm sensitive because I've got Hashimoto's and stuff, and I don't like being cold. Like I remember with football, we'd have to be cold. And I remember I took cold showers. I think like 2 months straight. Like, dude, it's a terrible feeling. Uh, it kind of shocks your body. Some people would argue it. If you like it, great. I don't like cold showers. Sometimes after a sauna or something, I'll take a cold shower. But then you get freaking shrinkage and all this stuff. Like, I don't, I'm not. It's a pain in the ass. I just don't like having
Yeah.
cold showers. How about you? Besides the skin gets tight,
I
I like that feeling.
yeah. I do think during football, whenever I was under a ton of fatigue and it was super inflamed, it definitely made me feel better. Like
It
like it
releases all the stress hormones, so you
yeah.
get jolted.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
Now though, what I've been doing is I'll hit a hot shower, then at the very end I'll turn it down for like 15, 20 seconds. Get
Yeah, that
myself
makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
and then
That,
also before work, if I do it, if I hit a little cold, it feels like it closes up my pores a little bit. I don't sweat when
those
I hop
closing
out.
before that
Yeah.
definitely that's a nice feeling. Like if you're trying to if somebody's trying to freaking looks max, taking a hot shower and then finishing with cold and then using something quality on your face if somebody's going on a date for my bachelor's, that's not a bad option.
Yeah. Um, Staying in the shower thing, what kind of products do you think are good for hair, body, face? What do you think are good?
Yeah, I use an unscented Dr. Bronner soap, so that really is very minimal. I've went through stages of not using any soap for a long period of time. I've also used just vinegar and baking soda, and that's probably the cleanest you can do is vinegar and baking soda. Anything scented is going to be and it's going to disrupt. They're
Hmm.
endocrine disruptors. I'm looking actually because I have a healthy products page that I made for somebody who is like Lux Maxing hardcore, and let me pull this up right now. So there's a hair product that actually helps turn your hair like blonde. Um, but not actually, but it's just a pro-metabolic one. But I would say some of those, some people like beef tallow. I prefer coconut oil. I think beef tallow sinks in the skin a little bit more, but it just kind of feels weird the more I think about just spreading an animal's dead fat on me. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I don't know. But aside from that, there's a company called Tallow Twins or people. They're based out of Canada. They've got a good lip balm. They have a good soap. But there's some quality soaps out there that are very
Okay.
plain. I would say just the bar soap. There's one from Soul Bra. He makes a soap. I forgot, but it's on his
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
Uh, those are pretty solid. There's aside from that, those would be the main things that I would say for product wise that I really the only thing I use is just soap and
Yeah.
coconut oil. That's about it.
Yeah. For sure. I think that is the one thing I haven't really thought a ton about, and maybe something that I was interested in because I've been doing the unscented bar soap, but it's
Hmm.
Dove, so there's
Hmm.
probably still stuff in it, but it's definitely better than getting like a scented uh, hand soap or that you
Yeah.
rub.
There's some small like on X honestly is like the best place to find some of these products because there's a lot of small kind of single entrepreneur people who've made products and
Hmm.
put them out there. Van Man, he also has a really good company, and he has some good soap. Van Man soap, I would check them out. And aside from that, you can kind of make your own deodorant too. You can get some type of magnesium powder with baking soda, with coconut oil, and even like a small bit of honey or something for scent. And you can use that for homemade
Hmm.
deodorant as well, even a little bit of activated charcoal, depending on kind of your preferences. But it's easy
Yeah.
to make a lot of this stuff at home.
Hmm. Uh, so you did vegetarian for 45 days. Would you recommend that to a normal person to do? What do you think? What was your experience like?
I enjoyed it. Vegetarian for 45 days. It was nice. You know what I noticed, man? My teeth weren't sore because I never had any meat to really chew on that
Hmm.
hard, which was really nice. Because now, I'm bringing my lunch, and I typically, since I'm having 6 meals, and I drive 20 minutes to the gym, 20 minutes back for cardio, and then later in the day lifting. So I bring my food with me, and I bring my spoon because I'm a spoon person for whatever meal I'm having. But then I bring a flosser too because I always get stuff stuck in my teeth. But aside from that, what I recommend to most people, probably not, because they're not going to get enough protein, and they're probably going to eat a crap ton of food that's not digestible for them, and they're going to get a lot of fermentation in their
Yeah,
gut.
that's true.
I didn't do that, so my food was non-fat Greek yogurt, non-fat milk, eggs, egg whites, a little bit of cottage cheese, maybe some Parmesan cheese. Uh, Aside from that, a lot of fruit, oat bran, potatoes, rice, mushrooms, carrots, coconut oil. That was basically the whole thing,
Yeah,
and I kept my calorie intake 4 to 5 thousand a day. Like I was eating a crap ton,
yeah,
especially of fruit, and I maintained weight right around 230. So it was good. It was nice. I didn't really feel any drops of energy. I still got in all my micronutrients from so much dairy. A lot of the micronutrients you would miss from meat, you're getting in the
yeah.
dairy. So I think using something, if somebody wanted to try maybe a little bit of a different diet, I would recommend tracking your food on Chronometer just to make sure your values are in check. But most people who are vegetarian or vegan are just going to they get a lot of this like vegetarian or vegan propaganda food, processed food at the store, which is terrible for you. So if you're to do that or have a bunch of lentil bean burgers and stuff, I wouldn't recommend that. You've got to
Yeah.
make sure it's basically like a dairy and fruit and starch diet.
Hmm.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
liked it overall. Strength in the gym was, I mean, the past 9 months, I haven't really been able to push it hard in the gym. And recently I've been ramping it up, but I didn't notice any decrease in gym performance by any means either, or
Yeah,
lack of energy, anything like that.
yeah. The gym, I was this morning, I was there and today was legs. And I was thinking about I have adductors and abductors on there to hit. I was like, why should I do these when they don't show? Like I don't really see anything come out of hitting adductors, abductors, and then hamstrings. What is the value do you think? Like, because I hit hamstrings, but you can't notice it. Like I feel like I work hamstrings so much and nothing ever gets noticed by it.
You mean you can't see it, or like you want people to see your
Yeah,
adductors? What are you
I
talking about?
no, I just can't see it. Like if I hit my quad looks, I can see my quad, I can see my calf, but like I
Yeah,
can't
you got to
see
get
my
leaner.
adductor.
You hold your most fat in
Yeah,
your ass and your low back. So you're not going to see your abductor because that's your ass, or your hamstrings. Like I remember once I have a picture of me jumping off of a boat, and this was when I was probably the leanest, and I had my like hamstrings like stripped out,
yeah,
and it was sick. I'll have to send you a picture. It was like I was like, what the? Like I had no idea. But you've
yeah.
got to get really lean for your hamstrings to get lean, and for you also. Like say you're trying to whatever your goal weight is, maybe 230. After that, you want to slowly reverse, but that's the best time for growth. Your second cut is where you're gonna look even crazier because you lost a ton of weight and you're still filling your muscle out, but the adductors and abductors are really important just for overall like athletic performance. Adductors also add wet width to your leg. So you'll see a bodybuilder who doesn't have well-developed adductors,
Hmm.
and their front shots, their legs look really thin compared to the next guy. They might have a cool quad, but your legs actually look too small for your body. Like they're
Yeah,
muscular, but they don't have the width. So it's really about the width is really
yeah.
important for the adductors for sure. I would hit them, side lunges. A lot of lunges for the abductors and adductors are really
Hmm.
important. Like yesterday, I was doing wide stance RDLs. Those are great for the adductors as well.
Yeah.
And then hamstrings, try different varieties of them. Like if you want to work more lower hamstring, you want to do more seated hamstring. If you want to work more glute ham tie-in, you want to do more 45-degree glute extensions, or you want to do lying hamstring curls, high foot leg presses. So, and then if you do side shots, doing a side chest or side tricep, if we're talking about bodybuilding style, having that hamstring drop and having a wide sweeping hamstring is really a cool kind of aesthetic. Even if you're just walking around in shorts and stuff, having like a nice rounded hamstring, I feel like it's a good look. Okay, we're back. Sorry about the technical difficulty
Yeah,
there.
all good. Uh, so I love carbonated drinks. A lot of carbonated drinks aren't good. What are some good budget friendly or not budget, health friendly carbonated beverages? that
Carbonated
actually
water.
tastes good. That tastes good, not just like water.
Yeah. Well, carbonated water is actually really good. It has CO2, so it's going to help you if you're constipated. Carbonated water is something you can actually add and it'll help you go to the bathroom. So carbonation and the CO2 is helpful. Again, it's anti-stress for the body. So carbonated water and typically squeeze a lime, squeeze a lemon in there. I mean, that's a great
Hmm.
option. You can also mix in some juice. So if you want to do a carbonated beverage with a little bit of pineapple juice, orange juice, apple juice, grape juice, you can
Oh
just
yeah.
flavor it yourself. So you grab carbonated water and you either use a fruit or fruit juice. And that
Hmm.
would be the main thing I would probably do. Aside from that, I mean, I don't know how else you could, I'm sure there's other ways to have it, but those would be probably the two ways, either
Yeah.
with squeezed fruit or a fruit juice.
Mhm. Last one. How would you, for a guy that's getting started into wanting to plan and wants to get started tracking, how would you set up a meal plan for a lineman to start losing weight?
Yeah, so it depends. And this is the one I sent you, but this is because
Yeah.
I was talking to some people, and not everyone's ready to lose weight right away. And I think this is something that maybe I should probably post about because a lot of people come to me and are just like, I'm 350, I want to be 250, let's go. And it's just like sometimes you're not metabolically ready for weight loss. So how I would describe this, right, is to say somebody comes to me, they want to lose weight. They're overweight, 30 to 35% body fat, maybe 6'2", 310, 290, whatever, that range. We want to see what you're eating throughout the day, right? So let's get an average calorie intake. Let's figure out what your basal metabolic rate is. And if it's lower than 3,000 calories, 3,500 calories, I'd like it over 4,000 calories if somebody's overweight, over 275. I don't want that to be the maintenance. So if somebody, especially in older populations, I've got people over 40 and 50 for men and women, and they come to me often, and even guys who it's a few years after football, and they've tried losing weight, they've stressed their system so much that they're now not metabolically ready to lose weight.
Hmm.
So the first stage of really weight loss in this manner would be setting up the metabolism, restarting the metabolism. And that can be a process that is person dependent, but takes some time. So you'd be adding in slow, you'd probably be pulling down fat, figure out their maintenance first, and then keep calories the same, push carbs up, pull fats down in the same ratio, as long as protein is probably the amount of lean body mass that
Hmm.
they have on their body. From there, we'd ramp that up to a stage. Ideally, that would probably take 8 to 12 weeks. Some people more, some people less. But you want to continue to increase the carbohydrates and increase their overall calories to where we know we can definitely push down maybe 1,000 calories worth and they can still be not starving.
Yeah.
Because we might need that range if somebody's trying to lose 50 plus pounds. We want at least 1,000 calories to play with. I mean, this was kind of similar with you. You started really high,
Hmm.
maybe at 40, a little over 4,000. You ended around
Hmm.
3,000, and then you pull a little bit lower just to kind of lean it out. But in general, the bulk of the weight loss was done within that 1,000 calorie range that you play
Yeah.
with. And then from there, you can kind of set them up on carb cycling before they even start losing weight. And that's really helpful as well to then be able to see how they respond to high days. And then you can start the weight loss process. Now, the weight loss process, depending on how much weight somebody has to lose, might be multiple phases. So if somebody's trying to lose, typically, like we talked about this, I think before, 50 pounds is kind of the cutoff.
Hmm.
And 50 pounds is aggressive, but over 50 pounds in say 5 to 6 months, you're probably going to need two phases of that. And I've done this. I have a guy, Sean Blake. He started with me around 290. We got down to around 245. He hit maintenance for a few months and now he's cutting again. I think he's down like 231 and he wants to get all the way down to shredded or so that might be a third phase to get shredded, but he'll
Hmm.
maybe end at like 220, 215, one more phase at 200. For being 5'10, 5'11, that might be a good spot for him because he's squatting. He's a strong kid like you,
Yeah.
but it takes some time. So understand you've got to set your metabolism up to lose weight, meaning you burn enough fuel. You eat a lot of food to maintain your weight. If you barely eat any food, which is a lot of people in your population, you probably see people overweight at work and you're seeing what they eat. And they eat a granola bar and a coffee in the morning, maybe a snack, maybe like a sandwich for lunch, and then whatever dinner they end up getting. They're not even eating a ton of food. Now they're eating a lot of processed food. And some people are just eating a ton of calories, but a lot of people actually have slow metabolic rates, eat poor quality food, and are overweight.
Hmm.
And both of us who are much leaner than them eat way more food than them, but we have a proper functioning metabolism. So it's person dependent. And then, for somebody looking to lose weight too, I think that tracking, the more I've thought about tracking, the more I think it's important because I think if you've gotten overweight, you clearly don't know how to value the sizes of food and portions. If you've always been fit your whole life and you've always been in good shape, well, you probably wouldn't be working with me. Uh, or if you wanted to get fucking dialed in, like I've got some guys who are in great shape and then they're gonna get shredded. Like I got one guy I'm so pumped to share. He keeps getting better, and he was a former hockey player, high level, 200 to 185, and now he's shredded, looks like a different person. And it's a lot of like weight loss recomp, but in general,
Hmm.
right? Like you want to be able to understand it. If you don't understand how to, or if somebody's trying to gain weight, people, I eat so much, I can't gain weight. And then you
Yeah,
see what they're
where
eating.
it's
It's like, motherfucker, you don't eat anything. So
mhm,
you don't eat enough, or you don't eat enough frequently. You have two big meals a day. So if you don't have enough self-control or enough knowledge to be in good shape, then you probably need to track it because you don't know.
mhm,
Just like if you're not super wealthy and you want to get wealthy, you probably need to track your finances so you know how to get wealthy. The wealthy
mhm.
people, they probably already have really good practices. They continue and they still track and they're still dialed in. Or maybe they're just super good and they kind of intuitively do it. But intuitive eating, I think, works for people who are healthy and who know how to eat and know the
Yeah.
value of food. Now, at that point, you can do it. Now, at that point, I can do it because we know how to do it. We've practiced it for months on end. But before then, if you're trying to do it, yeah, I think a lot of people can lose weight without tracking or really even having a set up diet phase. But a lot of people get stuck. And I see so many people get stuck
Mhm.
and they don't really want to work with a coach, but they start at 300, they get to 260, and they just can't get lower than that. And they're eating 2,000 calories a day, doing a ton of cardio, getting weaker in the gym, slowing down the metabolism, slowing down testosterone production, feeling tired and fatigued. And I know all these because I kind of been there. I just pushed it all the way to 80 pounds. So really understand that. Set your metabolism up before fat loss, then enter fat loss. Then if you need to have a stage of maintenance to rebuild the metabolism to then go in again. But I view
Mhm.
the metabolism as a runway. And not everyone has a runway that they're ready to take a plane off. If you only have 100 feet of runway, the plane's not taking off. So you got to extend the runway, whatever, half a mile. And then when you're ready, go. And then if you run out of fuel, okay, you're cutting too low halfway through the flight, you need to land again, extend the runway again, refuel, then go, cut again. And then
Yeah.
once you lose weight, you need to reverse out of it too. This is something that's really important. So once somebody hits their goal, typically reversing out, you're increasing. I was talking about booze with this yesterday too, and it depends for person to person. So he was trying to give me what's the percentage, and I'm like, I'm not sure. But for people who I help who get really lean, they're really happy, they feel really good. Okay, now let's just start bumping
Yeah.
calories, maybe 100 per day, part 100 on their high, medium, and low day. And if you don't gain weight and body comp looks great, okay, let's do it again the next week or two. And you start bumping that up. And before you know it, you finished your cut at 2,800 calories on your medium day. And now it's up to 3,500 and you've maintained the same weight. Maybe gained a little bit of weight from muscle glycogen, but you actually look better because you're fuller. So
Yeah.
that's how I would set it up in a long-winded answer of setting up fat loss and
No,
then
yeah,
reversing out
that's
at the
good.
end.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, Dylan, I appreciate you hopping on. I'll let you go. Anything else before we go?
I'm good to go. Glad we got to do this again.
Yes, sir. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Peace.